Welcome to another week of Instigating with Clarkey and Ryan, brought to you by our friends at Larry Hudson Chevrolet Buick GMC here in Listowel, Ontario, and our friends over at the Listowel Squash Courts. Ryan Drury, joined by my co-host, as always. This is the first show we've done in a couple weeks here where we're both here, Clarkey. What's up,
dude,
man?
Yeah, and you seem to have a little bad voice going. What's going on with the voice today?
Listen, man,
what's going on?
I'm a little hoarse today because earlier this week I was recording some vocals for the new Clarence Street EP. Of course, our viewers have no idea what that is, but if you like our theme song music, that's my band. That's my band, Clarence Street. Me and my best friend, Rob Krellin, have a little hardcore project. I don't need to pay for licensing for the tunes. They're my tunes.
They're your tunes. But can you give us 10 seconds of a song?
10 seconds of a song,
like you sing,
doing the vocals?
Could you sing 10? No, you can't.
We'll be canceled. We will get complaints. Look, if you like really heavy music, it'll be for you.
This
if
is
you're watching
screaming. Like, is it basically
dude.
Screaming instead of
I
singing?
sing in it too, but it's mostly very aggressive hardcore music. So yes, I'm a little hoarse. I was flooring it. We've got a couple new tracks on the way. We're going to do a cover song as well for all you Sex Pistols fans out there. We're going to do a Sex Pistols cover. Legendary punk band. Come on. Yeah. That's why I'm a little hoarse. So bear with me here. We're going to do the show with my hoarse voice and all. Yep. It's going to be fine. Dude, speaking of performing, you went and saw a pretty great concert recently. Did you not?
So did you. Now,
for about the 15th time?
17th. But yes.
Is it 17 now? Wow.
Yeah, I think so. I haven't actually.
17 for Lionel. Wow.
It's Lionel Richie's 17th concert. I really find him amazing. Like, he's a guy who I went to see in the 80s before you were born. Probably.
Yeah.
On his Outrageous tour, as he went single at that point, like he went solo. And that was at Maple Leaf Gardens. And that was the first time I've seen him. I've seen him in Vegas. I've seen him in Niagara Falls. I've seen him at Rama. I've seen him at Windsor Casino, Atlanta. But he's gone from selling out like Maple Leaf Gardens to casinos. And now he sold out Scotiabank Arena. And he's on a huge tour in the States right now. He's playing Washington and Baltimore this weekend. Sold out Madison Square earlier this week. Boston Garden. It's incredible. He's 74 years old. And
he's that old now?
He's that old, man. But I'm telling you, he puts on a show. He puts on a great show. He was with Earth, Wind, and Fire. Yeah, there's no question he's a legend. He was with Earth, Wind, and Fire. I'm not a huge Earth, Wind, and Fire fan, but they put on a really good show.
Hey.
They opened for him. Philip Bailey, who did actually a single with Phil Collins back in the day. Easy Lover.
My guy.
Good guy. And Philip Bailey's son is also in Earth, Wind, and Fire now. So but Phil, of course, is a original member. But it was amazing night at the Scotiabank Arena in downtown TO.
Let me tell you, man, some of the best stories usually, because I saw a great concert recently too. Pantera back together without the brothers, of course. If you know the history of that band, blew me away. I couldn't believe it. It was unreal. We got 2 encores. How many did you get?
Wow. One.
You got one encore. That's good.
His encore was the number one, of course, all night long. And he basically says, if we're going to be here all night long, let's sing all night long.
I love an encore, man.
Love an encore. Hey, speaking of encore, we have a whole load of Encore GXs at Larry Hudson's right now. A whole load.
Nice vehicle.
It's all redesigned. They're 24s. They're on the lot. 2024 is out already. Can you believe that?
Unbelievable.
Yes, they are redesigned, new Buick logo. They are really nice cars. As well, we still have our demos that we're blowing away at $7,000 off, some 23 demos. And we have some 23 HD trucks. So 2500s, 3500s. We have some 23s left. We're blowing them out right now at Larry Hudson's. Trent and I talked about it last week on the show. Trent and I worked together there at Hudson's. If you're looking for a truck or a Buick Encore, what else we have? We have some Enclaves on the lot as well, which is a nice bigger vehicle, the 7-seaters. They're all there. Come on down and see me, or if you have a sales rep, go see them. But yes, Larry Hudson's is a place to be, because you know what? Hudson's has it.
Hudson's does have it.
We're going to debut. We might debut a little new thing next week too. And I'm excited for this, but I can't let the cat out of the bag, but be watching next week for something.
Yes.
With Hudson's.
There could be something pretty cool creeping into the vibes here on Instagram. You never know. And hey, how about that? $7,000 off. Clarkey's not the $1 million man. He's the $7,000 off man. You got to go see him and our friends down at Larry Hudson's. All right. Before we get into the show, it's going to be a fun show. Our buddy Tom Valcke, longtime MLB scout, baseball instructor, softball instructor, coach. What hasn't Tom
used to
done?
Run the Canadian Baseball
broadcaster,
Hall of Fame, right?
Ran the Canadian. Yeah, he was on the board there, and he was running things over there.
Broadcaster. Yeah.
Yes.
We had dinner with him on Wednesday night.
Yes, we did. What a gem of a guy. Like, the guy's got stories. Well, our viewers know.
We got to ask
Tom
him
on here.
So his daughter, Mia Valcke, played for UBC, and he got to go see her play her final game, and we got to get him to tell us the story on the air. He
told us last night.
I was blown away by the
I couldn't believe the story.
Anyway, don't say any more. Let's wait. Let's save it. Let's save it.
That's a tease. I like that. It's veteran broadcaster right there.
Oh, the stories.
Before we have, we're gonna have a fun show with Tom. We're gonna dig into fun stories. We're gonna talk a bit about the Jays. Last time we talked to him, pretty recently, there was pre-deadline. Want to get his thoughts. Post-deadline, how they're doing. Obviously, some sad news in the sports world, particularly up here in Leafland. First things first. Rodion Amirov, the young prospect who the Leafs drafted in 2020, was diagnosed with a brain tumor in 2021. Unfortunately, passing away at the young age of 21. Just a terrible story. It's awful, man. This kid looked like he really had, the sport in the palm of his hand. He was a really highly touted prospect, but more importantly than that, he was, by all accounts, a really great kid. And it's just sad that, we've lost somebody like that looked to have such a bright future so soon. I mean, it's the old adage, like, cancer sucks. It's garbage. We got to figure this out, man. I can't believe we haven't found a cure for this thing yet, man. But holy, just really sad news. And then that was, pretty quickly followed up by the passing of a Leafs legend, Bobby Baun. My goodness. Passing away at 86, and a little sad because, Bob had a very full, great life, but it was just sad that, the last few years of his life, he was in pretty tough health. And that's never good to hear, but man, oh man, a legend, because Bobby Baun, if you don't know the story, Clarkey, I know you do. This dude became an instant folk hero in the 1964 Stanley Cup final. He blocked a shot. Not any shot, a Gordie Howe clapper, took it off the high ankle bone. It broke his ankle. He leaves the game in the third period. This is game 6 of the Cup final, with, I believe, the Leafs trailing 3-2 in that series. He leaves, gets it taped up, comes back, and scores the overtime winner, and the Leafs go on and win the Cup in 7 games. I mean, the guy's an absolute legend for that. Break an ankle. I'm out of commission for months. I'm not getting up and doing anything. This guy's scoring OT winners. Come on. Passed away at 86. Very sad to lose a legend like Bobby Baun. Clarkey, I'm sure that you were regaled with many tales. You were a very, very young lad back in the 60s, of course, but I'm sure that you heard many.
And I don't remember that. I'm wondering then either. So.
I'm wondering as well, though, because of course, for our viewers who maybe don't know, you were a longtime producer over at Leafs TV and spent a lot of time at the Fan. Did you ever have an opportunity to meet Bobby?
I did a few times. Nothing sticks out. Like, he was just a gentleman. That's all I remember. He was just a gentleman, which a lot of those guys were. I'm sure I met him at some Leaf alumni tournaments that I actually participated in. And we did shows, and we would have interviewed him for sure. I do remember him just being a gentleman. Very nice guy. Do remember him playing in the 70s a little bit in my real young age time. Really young, Ryan. Really young.
Very, very young. Very young.
Yeah, it's sad. It's those guys are, it's they've lived a long life and a good life, and won some Stanley Cups, and wore the Leaf blue proudly. And we're losing them, and it is sad. He would have been in that era with Johnny Bower and George Armstrong and guys like that who I knew well as well. George Armstrong was one of the funniest guys you would ever meet. And Johnny Bower, of course, a classy guy. We've had Johnny's grandson, John the third, on our show. But yeah, it's sad to see these guys go, for sure.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, there's not a lot of those great old Leafs left from those, the last of what were those glory days, winning all those cups and everything. And it's sad. So rest in peace to both those gentlemen. Very, very sad news out of Leafland. Let's quickly turn now to some happier news. Someone that we're very familiar with, our viewers and listeners should be familiar with. She's been on our show a number of times. Lucknow's very own Julianne Stolle, off to compete in the World Athletic Championships being hosted this year in beautiful Budapest, Hungary. She flew over to Barcelona on the 12th. And she begins her competition. She's going to be running in the 5,000 meter. I believe that's the only event she's competing in. I could be wrong there, but that's her specialty. She's going to be competing in the 5,000 meter for Canada, and she will compete starting August 23rd. And you can tune in. There's links to watch it. So best of luck to our friend Julianne, and you can bet that we will be reaching out to her and making sure that we get her on here to catch up and see how that event went. Of course, most recently she won the 10K title at the Canadian Track Championships in Ottawa just late last year in November of 2022. So I'm sure she's feeling good. Hey, she's an Olympian. Let's go, Julianne. Come on.
And another local athlete who we had on this show a couple months ago, Lauren Campbell, off to school, Illinois State, the swimmer.
That's right.
She left this past week for school, settling in there. So we'll have to keep an eye on her as her career continues, working towards being an Olympian one day.
Absolutely. Yeah. We'll have to catch up with her because I remember that great conversation we had and how excited she was to go there. Yeah. Have to get a lowdown on what the facilities are like, how she's enjoying it. Yes, absolutely.
Yeah, we'll catch up with her for sure. Yeah.
100%.
And also I want to mention if you're not, obviously, but if you're a female and you like or are interested in kayaking, Tuesday night at the Morrison Dam in Exeter, they expect maybe over 100 women in that body of water, not a big one. They think they'll be setting a world record for the most amount of kayak women in the Morrison Dam at one time. I'm sure there is, but I'm sure there also isn't a world record for that. But yes, they're going to be raising for big brothers and big sisters. They're going to be a little barbecue beforehand. They're going to be giving away a kayak, if you can believe that. Canadian Tire in Exeter has donated a kayak to give away. And as well, they should have a new kayak launch on the water to get in and out easier, which are amazing. And yeah, that a lot of the credit goes to my girlfriend Sue. She's done a lot of work for this. So if you're around anytime, I think after 6:00, reach out to us on Instigating socials, and I'll get the info to you if you're interested. But yeah, they're expecting over 100 women next Tuesday, the 22nd.
Yes, the 22nd. That'll be great. And
maybe I'll grab some viz while I'm there. We can roll it in next week.
I love that. Look at producer Clarkey over here. Unbelievable.
Exactly.
Making producer Adam's job a little easier. How about that? Exactly. Unbelievable. We love producer Adam. Now, keep in mind, remember our great friends at the Listowel Squash Courts, they're holding a big open house event on August 25th. So, correct. Hey, you want to go out, get in the water down there and have a great kayak time there with our friend Clarkey on the camera.
Yeah.
And then a couple days later, you can shift on over here to the beautiful facilities at the Listowel Squash Courts on the 25th and go have a great open house. Maybe become a member. It's easier than ever. Our buddy Alan MacArthur over there, he will take care of you. It's a great game. It's a great way to get active. Hey, lots of great local stuff going on here. Unbelievable, Clarkey. Look at you keeping tabs and filling up everybody's calendar over here.
Exactly. We're ready to roll. Let's go.
Unreal.
It's time.
I think it's time
for me to get back on the court too. I was given the green light to get back on the court from my injury. I have to take it easy, so maybe I should play you a couple times before I get into the real competition. But
listen,
we should go over later tonight. Whack the ball around.
The chirping's already begun. I'm glad that you're feeling better. You had that foot issue, so I'm glad you're feeling
getting better.
I'm glad you're feeling better. He's not feeling very good, and maybe we'll dig into this, when we have our buddy Tom Valcke on. The New York Yankees are not feeling very good, and that makes me ecstatic, and probably every other baseball fan ecstatic, because we love when the Yankees aren't doing well. Well, who cares? Who cares? My boss, the Yankee fan, not having it. Sorry, Mr. Kitching. I'm going to win that bet. I can't wait. I bet that the Jays would have a better record. Thank you very much.
We got to keep it going. But you know what? I want to get into it with Tom. I don't think this team's going anywhere. But we'll get into it with Tom.
Really, really quickly, very interesting. Sorry to drive the nail in a little further here, Yankees fans who are watching. As we record this, 60-61, so they've fallen below 500 for the first time this season. After the 120 game mark, this is the worst record that they've had since 1995. Now, hey, give credit to them. The Bronx Bombers, they're typically very competitive. This year, not so much. Things have gone right. They got a lot of dead weight to cut out of that roster, Clarkey.
And Aaron Boone's probably, you know as well as I do. Aaron Boone's probably going to take the be the fall guy, and he might not even last the season. They may do something now just to try to salvage the season. They may, right?
I don't agree
Lightning
with
in a bottle.
That, though.
No, of course
I think
not.
that that Cashman needs to go before Boone, and I don't think either of them have done themselves any favors here. But I'd be walking Cashman out before I walk Boone out.
Yeah,
and I don't like to call for people's jobs here. This is sports. This is the business we're in. They'll get another one. Yeah, Cashman's and I think that Cashman has dug himself a hole, Clarkey, because, man, we'll talk about the Jays deadline and how, a couple weeks ago with our friend Steve Sabrin on here while you were on vacation, I was saying how I wasn't very impressed with their deadline. The Yankees deadline was worse. They acquired one prospect. They did nothing. They didn't trade any expiring deals. They didn't try and acquire any arms for next year. They did nothing. And that made people down there just furious.
Oh, for sure.
I think that wrote Cashman's walking papers right there.
Yeah.
To do nothing.
It's like they're in limbo. It's like they don't know if they want to, you know what I'm saying? Are they a contender or are they going to rebuild? They don't like rebuilding in New York. That's not a good word. They want to compete every year. They don't want to tank and rebuild. That's not in their vocabulary whatsoever.
They have to essentially get the big guy there somehow. And I don't know if Ohtani has necessarily an interest in leaving LA. Although
we'll find out.
How can he stay there after what's gone on now? They acquired at the deadline and they promptly lost 6 straight. They're well out of a wild card as we record this. If they go on a miracle run, maybe, but that's about all the Yankees could try and do here. But man, they got a lot of guys on that team that can't really hit and are old, underperforming veterans that just aren't getting it done. And to be in this position that they are, Clarkey, and potentially have to, in the very least, retool with guys making hundreds of millions of dollars in total contract value in Judge's new deal and Garrett Cole. Garrett Cole's probably going to win the Cy Young, and your team's going to finish 5th in the division. Not a good look. And are those two guys going to be happy? I don't know. Time will tell. But we don't care because we don't like the Yankees here, do we?
We do not.
So, on that note, no more Yankees talk. Coming up right after this quick break, our friend Tom Valcke, right back on the program, longtime MLB scout, baseball and softball coach, instructor, broadcaster extraordinaire. He will join us next here on Instigating. Welcome back to Instigating with Clarkey and Ryan Drury, Chris Clark back here with you. And as promised, our great guest this week, friend of the show, his third appearance on this podcast. I don't know how he's not sick of us already. Longtime MLB scout, baseball, softball instructor, coach, broadcaster. This guy does everything in the game, and that's why we love to have him on when we're talking ball. Tom Valcke. Tom, how are you, man?
Well, I'm hatless, I notice. And I'm the guy, who should be wearing a hat.
No.
Yeah, the glare is a little.
Well, you know what they say. If you're going bald here, it means you're a great thinker.
That's right. Your brains are pushing your hair out.
If you're going bald up there, that means you're a great lover. But if you're going bald at both places, that means you only think you're a good lover. So I'm
I've never heard that. I like it, although I feel out of place now because I have a thick, lustrous head of hair.
So you're not smart or a good lover. That's what that means.
Hey, I don't claim to be either, guys.
You chose to go where you went. I saw you last night, and man, those hairs they're crawling out of there. They can't wait to get out of those follicles.
Yeah. I've been blessed with at least that the smarts and the other stuff. But the hair is going to be fine.
How do you like this, Ryan?
Hey, look at Clarkey's vintage hat here. You were just telling us about this off air. Explain to us what you've got here.
Well, no, it's from 1977. Like it literally is back to the year one. Just some of and it's autographed. It's very hard to tell. You can see little black pen ink on that, but Rick Cerrone, Bob Baylor, Alan Ashby are some of the names I can read. It's kind of hard to read other ones.
Pretty cool, man.
But yeah, it's that. Kind of, Bob Baylor. So Bob Baylor's a neat. Do you know Bob? Tom?
The player?
Yeah.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. Big bopper.
Yeah. So Bob Baylor was one of my favorite players growing up, and war number one. He was the first player picked in the expansion draft for the Jays, I believe, and played for the team for a long time. Was my favorite. He did commercials for the outdoor store, I think, or something in Toronto, and I would go there and get his autograph, and it was a neat thing. And then he came back as the first base coach, I think it was, when I was working down at the Dome all the time and got to know him really well. And he was a really, really good guy. But he used to call in to McCowan's show after games when he played on the team and tried to egg Bob on into ripping some of his teammates. He called from the clubhouse. He admitted this on our show once. Isn't that
amazing?
Isn't that unbelievable? Oh, yeah.
I love it. I'll be honest, Clarkey.
Yeah.
That sounds like something you would do. And that's why you love to regale us with that tale.
Yeah. So I got one more thing to show you, too. How does that look? You like that?
Whoa.
So you know what that's from? This is from 1992, I want to say. The very first.
Good year.
The very first Blue Jay fantasy camp down in Dunedin, Florida.
Oh.
And this is actually a game-worn jersey by number 16, the Jays, Garth Orge. But they took his name off it and put mine on it. And McCowan and I went down there and took part in the very first fantasy camp for the Jays. And we all got a formerly game-used jersey, and they had our names on it. So that's kind of cool.
So I got two questions for you, Chris. First of all, I didn't see if I was going to see a jersey that you wore, I was kind of expecting something towards the hat, like it got run over by a car. Like I'd like to see Stubby clap kind of dirt on that uniform. It looks pretty shiny to me. I'm concerned.
Hey, listen. Here's the deal. I was young at this point, and I was actually too young to actually participate in the fantasy camp. But because I worked for the Jays radio network, they let me participate. They asked me what position I wanted to play, and I said, just put me in the outfield. No, because I was the youngest one there, guess who was the starting pitcher for the Campers? This guy. And yes, I was the starting pitcher. They taught me a couple pitches, and one of them was a curveball, and I could throw it pretty good. And I remember Garth and I still talk. We've had Garth on the show, not even a year ago. So Garth and I still talk, and he was up to the plate, and I threw a curveball, and he swung and he fouled it off. And then I threw another curveball, and he swung and fouled it off. And he's not thinking I'm going to throw another curveball. So I throw another curveball, and Garth didn't have a lot of power. I think he hit it to the wall. Yeah.
My second comment is when you said it was Baylor's intention to get Bobcat to rip some of the players, that would be about as tough as you trying to talk me into eating a chicken quesadilla at half price appetizer. That's not a tough thing to do.
Exactly. Yeah. No, absolutely correct. And see, Bob was the PA announcer down the first year of the Dome too, or at Exhibition Stadium, the first year of the franchise. He was the PA announcer, right. So the players knew him. But anyway, yeah, it was fun times. I don't think you would get that now. I don't think Vladdy's in the clubhouse calling in after the game to Barker and
he's filling up the ice cooler to dump on his teammates. I hate the odd time crap. They win. Can we just end that? Like seriously, can we just end that? Let the kids have fun, Clarkey.
No, let's win a championship and have fun then, right, Tom?
Let them have fun.
Okay, so in that vein, Vladdy looking for something to do. What are you guys? Were you happy to see the tuxedo jacket there go away this year, or did you want to see more of it?
I mean, a lot of teams
it didn't bother me.
Right?
It didn't bother me at all.
Yeah, I don't know. Yeah. I just at some point you got to think winning is more important than anything else, and then maybe they'll win. And I don't see this team getting there this year. I don't know why. I don't think it's not because Vladdy pours a Gatorade bucket over the player of the game, but I don't know. I just want them to win and then have fun. Then pour the bucket over someone's head. Like that's what it should be for, right? The coach gets a Gatorade shower after they win a championship. Not for a guy who was player of the game and is being interviewed by Hazel May.
Well, after the first year of it, I was surprised to see it come back last year because they did not make the playoffs the year before. So to me, that tradition goes away and you try something new. I didn't think it really got in the way of their games. They seemed to enjoy it, but I think I don't think it was a total coincidence that hot corner was, the two guys got traded away. I don't think it was a coincidence that Mattingly got hired. I think upper management was looking to sort of kind of go the direction you're talking about, Chris, like a little more baseball, not kids, whatever. But it's where look at the NBA, look at the NFL, celebrate touchdowns. They're all acting like little kids too. So I don't know.
I don't know. I kind of don't mind it. I think
well, you're the kid in the group. That's why.
It just keeps in spirit with what the game is all about. You know, we were all kids that fell in love with the sports that we love, right? It kind of keeps.
So like it doesn't matter if you win or lose as long as you have fun. Is that what you're saying? No, you got to win. This is the pros. You got to win. Here's
the problem, Clarkey. They only do it when they win. So, like, I know we want championships
but
at the end of this.
Winning a game isn't winning a championship. Like,
you got to win games to get there, right? You got to win games to get there. You got to enjoy the victories, forget the losses, and move on, right? I mean, it's all just part of the process.
Hey, before we dig in,
man.
Before we dig in too deep, Tom, give us an update on what is going on in the life of Tom Valcke right now. Last time we talked to you were coaching, I think, out at Fraser Valley in BC. You're back in Stratford today, but what's your immediate plans after? Well,
I'll tell you, as long as I'm sitting out on my front porch right now.
Okay.
And it's not it is a thunderstorm. You can probably just hear that.
Perfect.
But I've got a portico over my head, so if lightning comes, I think I'll be okay. But and last comment on the jacket, I saw at a Stratford 10U or 9U ball game, the Stratford team had a blue jacket on a hanger in there on their bench, and I guess I still don't know if I liked it or not because it's a mixed emotion thing. But anyway, I'm happily back home now. I had a really good experience in BC. I taught out there. I worked 6 weeks with the University of Fraser Valley. Just a great ball program, great team, good people surrounding it, and I think they've got a really great future. And I hope that they felt it was worth the money. I gave them a lot of ideas and ways to improve, but they were really good when I got there. And then I taught for the January semester through June. That's when I came back after that. And in the meantime, I just planted some seeds out there. Since I was with the Fraser Valley team for 6 weeks, I ran into a lot of people that I had seen play before and programs and coaches and whatnot. And they knew I'm from Ontario, and they kind of all would be the same thing. What are you doing out here? And I'd tell them. And I got to admit, I was kind of hoping that maybe one of them would have said, geez, Chris is leaving in 2 months to do something. Would you ever want to take his part of our operation? Or we're going to thinking of expanding. You're the perfect guy. It would have been nice to hear something like that. But at the same time, I'm an old guy and it's an industry of young guys. So I've got a few, while I've got some space and time, I've really kind of spread my range, and I'm in the midst of a bunch of possibilities. I'll probably take another month before I make a final decision. So hopefully it'll be in baseball, but it might not be.
Yeah. And update us on Mia and Jackson. Is that your two ball playing kids?
Yes. Alana, the older, was an individual sport. If you were sweaty, she didn't want to touch you. So not as much to say about her, although maybe the most to say about her because she just got married and
nice.
Going to be a doctor very shortly.
Wow.
PhD. So that's a good thing.
Nice.
Jackson is now graduated from UBC. He graduated as he was the captain throughout COVID, and I think that was a very. I'm very proud of him for, when there's no carrots, which are ball games, and you got to keep guys motivated. That's a tough job for a captain. And he was their leading hitter to finish, so it was a great success for him there. Chris Pitchett, the head coach, and Sammy Starr and the rest of the people there. Just an unbelievable experience for Jackson, and we just wouldn't have traded it ever. And Jack maintains a really great relationship. He's working for Nicola, a financial management company right now, and loving every minute of it. So he graduated from the Sauder School of Business. And now Mia has finished her career as a softball player at UBC. She was the captain and leading hitter as well. And had a really, again, Lord Collings, just terrific time throughout, and got her Bachelor of Kin, academic All-Canadian. That happened in May, but she took a concurrent master's. So this summer, I did have a few calls from people who were kind of watching the very recent World Cup qualifier up in Thunder Bay saying, where's your daughter? She get cut? Did she quit? Well, no, she's taking the rest of the master's program, 28 straight weeks, 7 hours a day, and you can only miss 2 days total. So she was not able to play baseball or softball this summer for the first time. She was probably 5 years old. So, but it'll save her a year in her life. And Baseball Canada was tremendously cooperative and supportive of her doing that. Softball's hopefully going to keep her on their whiteboard. We'll see. And it'll give her some time to think after she finishes in December. And maybe she'll try to keep playing both. Maybe she'll quit them both. Maybe she'll pick one. Mia is definitely the most unpredictable of the three. So, yeah.
There you go. Well, hey, I'm glad everything's gone well for all the kids. That's fantastic. And listen, Tom, speaking of Mia, and if you're good with it, you told us an unbelievable story when we saw you about Mia's last game that you got to watch at UBC. If you don't mind, I would love it if you could tell our viewers that story, because it was quite unbelievable to hear.
Okay. It involves hitchhiking, and I won't go as far as the second story about hitchhiking, which you might remember as well. So we'll keep that off the air. That story was simply this. I didn't get to see Jackson's final games at UBC, and working out in Chilliwack, it wasn't a coincidence that it was Mia's final year. Streaming is, to say the least, better than nothing, but after 8 years of streaming, you want more. And so it gave me a chance to see a lot of her home games in her final year, and that was wonderful. And then the conference tournament, the Cascade Conference they play in the NAIA, was in Klamath Falls, Idaho, It's as stealth as you can get. If you spit, you'd hit California. And off they went, 1,100 kilometers. And the tournament, it was a clean double knockout. Top 6 teams in the conference go to it. And their first game was Friday morning at 9. I was a supply teacher. I had a class at G.W. Graham High School. The teacher had laid out the plan, and Mia's game started at 9. School started at 9, and I just looked at them and said, "Do you want to do what I've written on the board here? Would any of you like to watch my daughter play softball?" And luckily for them, they all agreed we'd go that direction. So we watched the game together. The Thunderbirds lost 1-0. So Mia had one more loss left in her university career. And as the day went on, I wore a shirt this color and pants this color, both dark, that day to school. And I don't know, something just overcame me. I didn't have access to a car. There was no way I could have got down there Friday night. The next game now after one loss was Saturday morning at 9. And sometime before 3:30, I just decided I'm going to that game. And I printed signs on the photocopier and stuck them in file folders to give me some firmness to stand at the side of the road and do what I hadn't done since high school 50 years ago. And I hitchhiked 1,100 kilometers down to Klamath Falls. I got there 40 minutes before the game at 9 and got home basically the same way. I did take a bus for part of the way home, but it was just an adventure. And I took 7 rides, and I wouldn't have traded for the world, because on Saturday morning, Mia's team did happen to lose. They lost 8-5, so that was the end of her university career. I got to see her play, and it meant a lot to both of us. And she played a really good game on top of it.
That's unbelievable. Father of the decade, ladies and gentlemen. Tom Valcke.
If I'm the father of the decade, why have all 3 of my kids moved 4,000 kilometers away? That's what I want.
Oh, no. Oh, man, that's unbelievable. Just an incredible story and amazing. You know, you mentioned, too, that, you know, both Jackson and Mia, of course, were the hit leaders on the team their last year. So clearly you've shown them some good things. I mean, for both of them, let alone one of your kids to do that, for both of them to do it, pretty impressive. And that ties in well with our Blue Jays, which we all love to talk about. And when we were chatting with you before on the show, Tom, it was before the deadline. They really didn't address their number one problem, which is hitting, and particularly hitting with runners in scoring position. Paul DeJong was a fill-in. He's a good defender. He's filling in for Bo Bichette, who we might see back this weekend. But outside of the Jordan Hicks acquisition, which is great because he's a flamethrower, they need that, this team just still cannot hit. They cannot seem to come up with that clutch hit and knock runners in. We were talking about Vladdy, and he's at the center of it all. He is supposed to be the dude alongside Bo. You're quite clearly a good hitting instructor. You've obviously given a lot of people some tips, including your kids. If I'm Vladimir Guerrero Jr. and I'm coming into your office, Tom, what's the first thing you're telling me to get my season back on track here?
Yeah, and it's, one comment on the 2 kids. I'll go this far. I'll say I apparently at least didn't get in their way of succeeding. And that's as far as I'm going to go with that. But anyway, if Vladdy came into my office, and if I had the ability of what's the hitting coach's name? Martinez.
Guillermo Martinez.
Yep. Yeah. And who last year I really championed him. I paid more attention to what he was doing. I noticed last year that how many first pitch strikes the Jays were swinging at and having success, the aggressiveness and everything else. And I really was a champion of his. So I'm going to be honest and be a little bit constructively criticize him because I don't accept the hitters' plans this year, many of them. And Vladdy's one of them. Now, you look at Vladdy's numbers, it's a season most players would dream to have. I think he's over 70 ribbies. He's around 275 batting average. He's got 18 home runs. Like, he's having I would probably say a great year for the average major leaguer. But with the standard of Vladdy and what we've seen and what we know he's capable of, he's having a sub-Vladdy year. And it's not like he started doing this year. We've seen him do this before. And you see Springer do it. And I went to Tuesday's game, the 2-1 victory what a great Tuesday in the Rogers Center, packed house and 61,000 hot dogs sold for a buck. The place is crazy, you know. Romano came out, and after Hicks threw the best inning I've seen him throw as a Blue Jay in the 8th inning, Jimmy got out of a jam in the 7th, and of course Kikuchi had a great outing. How many times, there were over 100 games in, are all of us going to say, how many times are all of us going to say, yeah, the Jays starter did a great job, didn't get a win though. You know, they all, every night it seems like they throw 6 or 7, they allow 1, 2, maybe 3. And if the Jays win, they don't even get the W because the offense has just been sputtering. You know, I mean, of course, occasionally they put some big runs up, but I really do believe start of the season, but I'm not afraid to say I'm wrong. I'm secure in myself. I would have told anyone, count on them scoring 5 to 7 runs every game this year. And it just has not happened. And it's 100+ games in, so it's not like it's a small sample size. So in Vladdy's case, like Springer, like Brandon Belt, who again has brought his numbers up to an impressive state. It compares well with other people in the league, but he almost fell down. He swung so hard at a 2-strike pitch on Tuesday night, and so did Alejandro Kirk. He went down to one knee. It looked like a right-handed Ernie Witt hitting a home run, and he swung and missed on a 2-strike pitch. And what I'm getting at is Vladdy, Springer does it commonly. They just seem to be swinging for the fences when they get into pitchers' counts. And I think we touched on this last show, but I remember it was near the very end. So I'll just sort of clean it up. I'm not saying you can't do that. I'm not saying never do it. I'm not saying never guess curveball or anything soft with 2 strikes. Another fundamental of baseball, and yet they do it. The announcers last night on TV said, well, the first 2 at-bats for the Phillies leadoff hitter, the left-hander barrel-chested guy, Gavaldi, what's his name? The leadoff hitter for Phillies, Schwarber, Kyle Schwarber.
Kyle Schwarber, yep.
Schwarber looked foolish. Now, he's facing Gausman, and Gausman joined the club if you look foolish. But he took 2 fastballs right down Broadway for strike 3 last night. Obviously, he was guessing he was going to see Gausman's splitter. And it just, again, I keep hitting myself. When did people in baseball decide it's okay to guess something soft with 2 strikes? You can't. You can't adjust from expecting something soft to, oh, it's hard. I got 20 bombs this year. He's a great. So it's not just the Jays, but if it's Vladdy in my office, I'm telling him this. Look, it's not working. You're doing fine, but you're capable of more, and we need more. We are in the thick of a race with 40 games. I don't even know, 40 games. I would really like to see you get some. If you get to 2 straight, Vladdy, swing like you do. Have a party. Rip away at the first pitch. Hard to say be more selective because that's a hard thing to say when guys are throwing near 100 these days. But Vladdy, when you get into a pitcher's count, especially with 2 strikes, can you just calm down the storm a little bit? Don't worry about leading the major leagues in exit velocity and the most hard hit balls over 95-mile-an-hour pitches and all that. Just put the ball in play somewhere. Make something happen. Someone's going to look at Espinal's air last night. He's my favorite Blue Jay. It crushed me when he caught that ground ball. Should have ended the inning. It should have been 4-3 Blue Jays. There was 2 out, and he double clutched and threw it was a tough pick for Vladdy. I thought they gave Vladdy. I wasn't as easy pick as I thought it was painted as. It was
I just didn't think he stretched far enough. He could have stretched further, I thought, but anyway.
That could be.
Yeah.
He got trapped just like guessing soft. He's guessing that Espy is going to do what Espy and Chapman always do, throw it right to the chest.
Yeah.
God, I felt bad for him because I root for him. I've said on the record all year this year, Toronto is going to be thankful they've got Santiago Espinal on their roster at the end of September this year. Mark my words. But I really felt bad for him last night. And then I thought that sort of put the Jays into the fear factor. We're down a run again, 8th inning. Here we go. And then the Phillies get 4 more runs. But Vladdy, just calm things down. Let's get the runners moving a little bit. Let's think a little more contact. You had your party for 2 swings. Be a leader on this team. If they can see you doing the Cliff Johnson, who used to choke up on the bat as a Blue Jay.
I loved Cliff.
Widen his stance, and you can see he was purely looking contact, and he was a bomber.
Yes,
I'd really like to see Vladdy do that without any fanfare, and the other teammates are going to see it. Maybe they'll follow suit.
Yeah, Cliff. I love Cliff Johnson. I thought he was so good. He set a major league record for most pinch hit home runs when he was with the Jays. He could come off the bench. Yeah, he could come off the bench and just hit them out of the ballpark. But when I look back, and I'm going to sound like an old fart here, but like 92, 93, those were good teams. Even 2016, was it 16?
2015 and 16.
16, good, really good teams. They were this close. I don't know. Maybe it's just me, Tom. I want your opinion on it. This team just doesn't seem to have it in my mind. I don't have any faith of this team moving on to the playoffs and having any success. I don't know why. I can't put my finger on it. I just don't think they have it.
I think you've arrived, Chris, and you've been around on every side of the game. You've arrived where because I'm so blessed to work in the industry, but I'm so in love with this team. I'm such a fan.
Mm-hmm.
I think I mentioned last night, I feel like the 8-year-old in Windsor watching the Detroit Tigers when I started to fall in love with baseball and never quit. The lineup in 68, Stanley, McAuliffe, Kaline, Cash, Horton, Northrop, Freehand, Wirt, and then either McLean or Lolich. Because when I played by myself on the front of my house, I had a 2-man rotation. It was just those two. But anyway, and I feel that way about the Jays. I don't watch Jays in 30 anymore. I PVR the game and I'll watch the whole 3 hours. I got to see them. I'm just in love with them, but they get so frustrating. And to your point, it's not working. And I think that's what Ryan alluded to off the top, or it might have been Adam, about the Jays not maybe making a move for the offense. And are the top guys, the top brass of the Blue Jays, as guilty as Tom the fan? That's all I am anymore. I'm a has-been of thinking it's going to happen. It's going to happen. It's 120 games into the season. When is it going to happen?
Right.
It's not clicking. But to my surprise, I would have taken all their offseason moves. Lourdes Gurriel used to be my favorite Blue Jay. I hated that they traded him. I didn't mind them trading
Moreno. Hernandez. Yep.
Yeah, a couple left-handed bats, and those two, Belt and
Varsho
came with great credentials and realistic expectations, and started so slow. Mm-hmm. They picked up and whatnot, but I think they're blind. They're as blind as me. We keep thinking, I have to be right. I had to be right back then because I'm a baseball guy. We aren't right. Chris, I think you've got it. This team doesn't have
seem like
runs in them every night.
But having said that, as well as I do, funny things can happen in the playoffs, and like if you get on a heater and like you got every green light going through a downtown street in Windsor heading towards the 401, and everything lines up for you. You never know what might happen, right?
That's right.
Right. True. And then I'll qualify it. I'll say that if there's no change, like the Vegas tote boards, there's a lot of, and now gambling's legal, and every other commercial when you watch them on TV is telling young people to gamble on the games.
Yep.
Oh my God! But Pete Rose don't put him in the Hall of Fame. But anyway,
what a joke!
Jose Bautista, you bat flip, you're a villain, and now that's the commercials for Major League bat flips. It's funny how they've changed because there has been some good changes, definitely the time clock, etc. But some of these other things don't thrill me. But I would say if we just keep doing what we've been doing, then what's the Einstein definition of stupidity? Doing the same thing, expecting different results.
Insanity, yeah.
Insanity. The rotation, the starters can't be any better. The bullpen is shored up, and I'm okay with them making a good run. But unless, like the thing we discussed, unless Vladdy, something radical other than Davis Schneider is going to have to change, because if we just expect them to change, there's no reason to logically support that. And I hope someone makes a change. I love that question you asked me earlier, Ryan, because I think I think that's what I would do with him right now. I'd get Vlad in my office and ask him to be the leader and do it. Let's think 90 feet at a time. Let's get him moving.
Yeah,
I agree. I mean, it's just something where we were told, heading into this season that, our fundamentals were going to get better. And, for the most part, they have. Defensively, they had a real knack and need to get better. They have. And their pitching, you're right, it can't be much better. They're first in ERA. Like, their pitchers, whether they're the starters or guys coming in from the bullpen, are doing an unbelievable job. This is a crazy stat to me that I saw. Their runners in scoring position, it's the theme of the year. Like, their runners in scoring position OPS is, as we record this, 13th in the American League. With the bases empty, the Jays have a 762 OPS, which is 5th. With runners in scoring position, it's 685. Now, that's 28th overall in the league of 30 teams. It's extremely hard to make the playoffs with a runners in scoring position OPS that low. If the Jays finish with an OPS with runners on that low, it would be one of the 10 lowest ever for a playoff team. They would just inch over the 1980 Houston Astros, who hit 684, and Detroit in 72, who hit the same. The lowest ever was the 81 Astros. They somehow made the playoffs with a 641 OPS with runners in scoring position. Like, we're talking historically bad hitting in situations where you need to drive runs home. And that's what we're looking at right now, Tom. But, Clarkey, I share your skepticism because the bats, look, it's 120. We've seen a lot of poor hitting. I said this a couple weeks ago to our friend Steve Sabrin, Tom. If the Jays miss the playoffs, which as we record this, they're still holding that third wild card, but if they miss the playoffs, God forbid, Tom, in a year where you have an extra wild card spot, if they miss the playoffs with this lineup, I personally think, and I posed this to our buddy Steve, I think that they might be the most disappointing Blue Jays team of all time. What do you think of that?
The most disappointing team of all time to me was 2 years ago when they won that game on that final Sunday, and they still needed someone else to win or lose, and they wound up, I think the Yankees, someone came back to win that game, and that knocked the Jays out. To me, that is absolutely the most disappointing. That's one of the greatest teams ever not to make the playoffs, in my opinion.
I agree.
Would this team exceed that? Boy, I never thought of it like that. But
with this pitching.
Yes, with this pitching. And it's arguably, I know Manoah's down, but a 6-man rotation, and Manoah will be back up if someone gets hurt or something. But you put some real meat on the bone with those numbers. I did not know any of that. And that really supports this problem that the most distant, raw knowledge fan would understand and agree with. RISP, runners in scoring position. It's not happening. So if I'm John Schneider, because I think with that would not only be the most disappointing team. I have no problems with John Schneider, but if his team doesn't make the playoffs, whether it's him, whether it's Martinez, whether it's not him telling Martinez, his hitting coach, you better do something here. I want to change. Get with Vladdy. Just to keep sticking with that same example of a change, and make it contagious with the players. And let's see them. I mean, they're a good bench. Whenever someone hits a ground ball, moves a runner, they're always up high-fiving. They're doing the right things after it happens. But I know they practice it before the games, opposite field, opposite way, hitting runs. But they're just, whether it's their contracts, whether it's their greed, hitting home runs because you get a bonus if you hit X many, whether it's the ego, whether it's playing at home, whether it's playing with 8 other great guys and you want to kind of be the guy that Vladdy dumps the water on tonight. I have no explanation for it, except you got a hitting coach and it's pro ball. Make a change for 40 games. And you know what? If they don't make the playoffs after making a change, but they tried something, Schneider, you can keep your job. But you better do something because last year they dumped their coach when they were in a playoff position, and that's when Schneider came in. So
I think it's hard to blame the hitting coach because he's not the offensive coordinator. You know what I mean? There's a difference there, right? Like he can't tell the guys every time they're up at bat how to hit the ball. Like, hey, you know what? The third baseman is playing where the shortstop plays. If you could just lay a bunt down, you know what? You're going to be able to get to first base, guaranteed. That drives me nuts. That more guys won't do that. Absolutely greedy nuts.
Guillermo's part of that, though.
Who is the Jays offensive coordinator? Do you guys know? Is it Rivera?
It might be Chris Clark. We're not sure.
They have an offensive coordinator.
We're not sure.
It's got to be John Schneider, right?
It should be Tom Valcke, for goodness sake.
It should be.
But I do have one more observation about the coaching staff.
We have about 4 minutes left in the show.
All right. Please. We got Don Mattingly this year, and I think we all have great respect for him as a player, as a coach, and he's such a baseball guy. And you hear a lot of people say, they brought him in and he's going to take Schneider's job when they fire Schneider. Maybe, I don't know, I don't care. But what I wonder though is, and I watched Tuesday was the first game I've seen in Toronto this year, so I've watched 100 others. When I've seen John Schneider on camera, I'm going to say 95 times. If I've seen him 100 times, and it's more than 100, but if I've seen him 100 times, I've seen him next to Pete Walker. He's always been with Pete Walker last year.
Correct.
He has a bench coach whose name is Don Mattingly. And I always wonder, like Rob Thompson, when he was Joe Girardi's bench coach, they were Velcro. Thompson he wasn't bugging him. Girardi wanted him there. Thompson knew when to speak and when not because he was so polished. Mattingly obviously is being heard. No one's going to say poo-poo Don Mattingly, but I always wonder, why isn't Mattingly and Schneider side by side? You notice that?
I noticed that for sure, and I often wonder,
it's weird,
who brought in Don Mattingly. Like maybe there's some friction there. I don't know. Right, that's what I'm getting at. Like, did John Schneider want Don Mattingly?
Maybe there's some intimidation there.
Yeah, well, there should
on Schneider's part.
There should.
I don't know.
It's
valid,
but you got to listen. Like if you want to be successful and you have a guy with that kind of knowledge beside you,
his name's Donnie Baseball, guys.
You got to listen. And from what I hear, and you might know him, he's an unbelievably nice guy.
I've never heard anybody say a bad word about Donnie Baseball. No. Anybody.
And having been in New York, if he had that side, we'd hear about it. We would know.
Oh, for sure.
Absolutely.
For sure.
Absolutely. Yeah, well, you know who else is definitely not a bad guy? Tom Valcke. And dude, we appreciate you coming on the show again, giving us a ton of your time again. Mostly, basically for 2 nights straight. It was great to see you at dinner the other night, man.
In the middle of a thunderstorm on his porch.
In the middle of a thunderstorm, Tom Valcke will hitchhike for his kids, and he'll sit in a thunderstorm for 2 knuckleheads on a podcast. That's the type of dude he is. Tom, man, it's been great to have you on. We could do this for 4 hours and easily fill 4 hours of show. It's great that you gave us so much of your time. We really appreciate you doing this for us, my friend.
Always fun, you guys. I would do it anytime. But you, you're all about looking at baseball from different views, and I appreciate you calling me up once in a while and letting me outlet. I feel like I was just in a therapy session. I feel great right now.
Nice. Well, let's get you back on at the beginning of the
100%.
playoffs and hopefully talking about a Blue Jays spot, and we'll go from there. How's that?
Yeah. And we're not that far away. We learned last night. So
exactly. Another month, and we'll know what's going on.
Get a protractor and find out where the middle of that Bermuda Triangle is. We'll meet there.
Okay.
We'll sort it out, man. All right. You can watch this show Friday nights at 8, Sunday nights at 9 with our friends on Whiteman TV. That's channel 6 for Whiteman subscribers. We debut on our YouTube channel Friday nights at 9. You can follow us on social media at Instigating Pod and find the podcast version of the show on all your favorite podcast streaming apps. We appreciate our great sponsors, Larry Hudson, Chevrolet Buick GMC here in Listowel, the Listowel Squash Courts. I'm Ryan Drury. That's Clarkey for our friend Tom Valcke for joining us this week. We appreciate everybody listening to and watching Instigating. We'll be back next week.